Hey, this is Doug Brown. And you're watching the Sideline Showdown.
What's up, everybody? Mike Still and Keto Pobla here with you today for the Sideline Showdown. Keto, it was another great week of action, amateur football in the province of Manitoba. We had WHSFL games. We had Manitoba Minor Football Association games. And we got a new segment with the Bison football team running with the herd. A lot of great stuff to show you, man. Keto, how was your week? You got to a lot of games.
It was really awesome. You know, it's really great when you can choose any type of football, and you know, there's going to be games, there's going to be practices, there's going to be football everywhere you go. So, you know, with the Winnipeg High School Football League starting this past week, you know, football season is here, full intact.
It is, and we got the chance to go to a couple different games. First game we went to was Kelvin and Murdoch. Both teams making their return to Division I football in the high school league. Kelvin came out with a 28-23 victory, but man, Keto, it came right down to the wire.
Right down to the wire. You know, at one point it was anybody's game, and towards the second half, you know, Kelvin really pulled out, but then actually Murdoch actually started stepping back up, and you know, unfortunately they ran out of time, but it was a lot of action. One
of your key players on there was Mackay Tyrell. That's your boy.
Yeah,
He's a speed demon for the Murdoch McKay clans.
You know what? Mackay is just one of those athletes that you want to be able to give the ball to. Every time he has the ball in his hands, you just allow him to just do his thing. And you know, he made some key plays towards the end when Carter Kusin threw him about a 40-yard bomb, and he finished it off with about a 60-yard run right after. And he had a lot of solid plays. And you know, I've been really fortunate to be able to coach this kid up in the selects. But at the end of the day, there's certain kids, man, that you know, sometimes you just can't teach that type of speed.
You know what else you can't teach, Keto?
What's going on?
You can't really teach a guy how to high point the ball behind his head with a couple defenders draped all over him. That's what Adam Fast did for Kelvin for the entire second half. He made some ludicrous catches. He was clearly the MVP for Kelvin, going both ways as a receiver and a DB. Big reason why they won the game. Keto, you got the chance to check out Oak Park and Grant Park in more Division I action in the High School Football League, and a tight contest in that one as well, right down to the wire.
Yeah, it was a really great game. It was from start to finish, it was a lot of action going, a lot of back and forth. I do have to give a shout out to the fans that were out there. They were so excited, really brought a great football atmosphere. But the game and intensity of the players and the coaches, it was everything that football should be. And I got to say, these past couple days that we've been out into these games with the Winnipeg High School Football League, there's been a lot of, you see the parity between both teams where, at any given time, just one or two plays could actually change the aspect of the game. So just being at that Oak Park, Grant Park game alone, with just the lead changes and everything that happened, was just a solid football game.
Absolutely. I want to give a quick shout out to Sean Esselmont. He's one of the co-head coaches at Sister High School. He's a big reason why the divisional alignment and the conferences look the way that they are. He was very key in making that happen. Cool. So that would be a big reason why there's that parity for sure. Oh, Grant Park, Jackson McLean, defensive back.
Yeah.
Man, you liked his game out there. He had an interception. He's gunning for the school record for career INTs.
Yeah, and that play that he actually made, Jackson, in the fourth quarter, you saw the shift in the game almost go all the way into the Grant Park's favor. And, at that point, we all thought, okay, Grant Park is going to start rolling over. And, Oak Park had some key players that actually come back up and make some miraculous plays to actually get them finished up on top. But all in all, the action and the gameplay by both teams and the players and the coaching staffs, what a game.
Absolutely. Justice Flett, Thomas Hubbard, Jesse Dudas, just three players that really stepped up for Oak Park, specifically in the second half of that game, man. I know you were a big fan of those guys.
Yeah, just seeing those guys step up in the last couple minutes to bring their team to victory. I love seeing that. Big-time players make big-time plays. And so I think at the end of the day, when you see kids be able to step up in those moments, I love seeing them end with success. So it's really awesome.
Everything litty, I love when it's hot. Turned to the city, I broke out the notch. Got some more millies, that keep me in that. I created history, it made me a lot. She tried to diss me, it ain't no fox. We call them chopsticks, cause they gonna chop. Took her out of filers, cause up was a top. I want it like Nike, we got it on lock. I'm the boss man in the suit with no tie. I can be sober, I gotta stay high. Put me some soap in the gravy and dry. Running this special like Bunny and high. Don't want me back there, I keep me some vibe. She be making fucking, she cannot decide. The ladies Mercedes, it go to surprise. Don't sleep on Miss Lady, her peace to her pride. Digging her back while I'm gripping her side. Digging back, this ain't regular size. Really floppy like pelican guys. Bitch looking range slick, I can tell her the skies. Upgrade at my wrist, put her gas in the sky. She sing I might sign her and change her whole life. I told her to goggle and work on her highs. Everything litty, I love when it's hot. Turned to the city, I broke out the notch. Got some.
That's all we do. All day.
The scariest part for teams that play against Oak Park this year, their best player from last year at running back, Rylan Kelly, he was injured, wasn't in that game. He's certainly going to be a factor for them as the rest of the year goes along. Moving on to MMFA action, I got the chance to check out St. James and Fort Garry this past Sunday. And Keto, when you get to the Pee Wee level, which is the game I was at, the passing game starts to become more of a factor. At the Adam level, a lot of it is running. You're just trying to understand your formations, understand what everyone does on the field. You get to Pee Wee, you start passing the ball more. Defensive backs have more of a role. You start to understand that. How big of a factor is it, and how important do you think it is for teams to learn how to pass appropriately and effectively at that level?
I think it's everything. At the end of the day, you see the solid teams who are able to pass and also able to spread the ball from width plays and interior and then also put the ball in the air. Those are the teams that dominate. And then at the same time, respectively, at the end of the day, you have to teach those kids how to cover in space and actually be able to defend the pass, because at that level, there's key places or key kids that can really impact the whole entire game, and that's the difference between, high school and the Pee Wee level, is that in high school, at least going back to what we were talking about, the scheme really comes from the coaches, but even at the club level, not to take away from what the coaches are doing, because a lot of the coaches are very solid coaches out there, but you can have a couple key players that you can kind of lean on to do a little bit more.
certainly. Going to the game itself between St. James and Fort Garry, passing was a big part of it. Travis Hayden, St. James's quarterback, I know you're kind of familiar with Travis.
Yeah.
He's got a nice tight ball. He's got a nice spiral for sure.
Yeah. He's definitely a kid that is a bigger kid for his age. You'd think he's 13, but he's really not. But yeah, he's just one of those solid kids. Every time you see him, he has a great smile on his face. And I'm really glad that they're really using him out there at the rods. And also Marcus Zalewski is also a key player. But I know that you got to get to the game and you got to see a lot of the Lions actually make a lot of plays. So I'm really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Hayden's got a great ball, but that secondary, we talked about the importance of knowing your job in the secondary, and that's exactly the case for Fort Garry. Chris Petrovsky, their safety, game changer. Fort Garry had 3 interceptions. Petrovsky had 2 of them. One of them was a pick 6. Keto, you also got the chance to check on the Eastside Eagles and the Sunrise Coyotes in Pee Wee action. Eastside, they're on a 4-game win streak now.
Yeah, they are on a 4-game win streak. You know, since week 1, they've been just rolling. You know, they had a very young team, and it seems like they're getting up on their feet and actually, you know, making some plays. Coach Tony Ross and his staff is doing a great job of getting those young guys ready for the games, and it's starting to show out. So it was really cool. This was basically a game that, you know, it was cold, it was nighttime under the lights, and his team came to come play. And shout out to the Coyotes because they actually had a really tough, great plays, and they also didn't let up easily. But here are the highlights.
So on last week's episode, Keto and I talked about Dakota Collegiate, Mitch Harrison, in his first season as a head coach. We sort of discussed maybe the challenges, but also the excitement about what comes with being a fresh first-year head coach. Keto, man, you know, obviously that's something where the players have to adjust. But it looks like Dakota is ready to go, and as evidenced by their Week 1 victory over Sisler.
Yeah, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's about leadership on the team, right? Being able to transfer from what the coach's message is to the players, and those seniors stepping up and letting everybody, you know, just being examples out there and just following the plan. You know, Dakota has a really solid program, and it doesn't surprise me that they're still, you know, picking up back where they left.
Absolutely, and I got a chance last week before Dakota's Week 1 game to sit down with Mitch Harrison, as well as 3 of his provincial team players, just to sort of chat about the season and expectations. You can also check out those full interviews on our YouTube channel. Mike Still for the Sideline Showdown here with senior offensive/defensive lineman Ethan Papineau, the big dog Jordan Friesen, senior running back slash slot back Hubert Sindikabwabo from the Dakota Lancers. Mike Still for the Sideline Showdown here with newly minted Dakota head coach Mitchell Harrison. Mitchell, how are you doing today, man?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, can't complain.
Leading up to today, how have you felt the team's look so far, just gelling overall?
I've been really proud with how everyone has responded. We went pretty tough on them for the first couple of weeks. Like, we conditioned at the beginning of practice. We get them running, you know, from drill to drill. So the intensity's up, and they responded accordingly.
You know, I'm pushing everyone every play to work harder. You know, like we got to have guys flying around the field. We can't have guys dogging it. You know, we're ranked 3rd right now. If we want to be where we are, we got to just keep pushing, keep hitting guys in the mouth. You know, play hard knocks football.
You can't be scared to hit. Like, football is a contact sport. You're getting hit every play, so might as well make the most of it. You know.
Just getting it, everyone jacked up and ready for any moment during practice. I'm always like excitement guy. I was like lots of energy, bouncing around, dancing. You know, doing whatever to keep the team up.
Where would you rank your coaching style from like a 1 to 10 in terms of intensity versus more hands-off?
I think it just depends on the practice and on the day, right? Like, there's days where I'm really patient, and you know, I understand it's going to take some time to grasp some of the more difficult concepts and all that sorts of stuff. So I guess I'd say I'm more patient for technical and mental things. I'm less patient when it comes to effort. If there's no effort, I'm losing it. Ultimately, they're still children in a lot of ways, right? And especially the JV guys, like, you can't be yelling at them all the time. You don't know what they're getting at home. You don't know what they're getting, you know, in their social circle. So you don't want to be a negative force in their life. You want to be a positive force. I try my best to be positive all the time, you know, laughing, joking with the guys. But like I said, if there's a lack of effort, then that's something that we're going to correct immediately, and we're going to correct with some intensity probably.
What would it mean to you to cap off your senior season with a championship?
You know, that would be amazing. I've won a few championships over at the St. Vital Mustang, but if we could grab one at Dakota, you know, I think that would make a lot of people's day, and you know, it'd make all Dakota community happy and everything.
It's a big thing. Like, also, our school loves football. You know, they always want to see a championship, want to see a banner in their school. So, you know, trying to work for that.
Be the best teammate I can be, because my senior season, I want to be able to like lead my guys out. But yeah, 100% get to the next level.
Appreciate your time here today. All the best. Fourth-year defensive end Brock Gowanlock for the Manitoba Bisons has been wreaking havoc off the edge ever since he came to the U of M. But it wasn't always that way. At one time, he was a 320-pound defensive tackle for the Langley Rams. I got the opportunity to sit down with him to discuss his weight loss journey and what has helped mold him into a dominant player who's favored to be a high-level CFL draft pick this season. Mike Still for the Sideline Showdown here with fourth-year defensive end Brock Gowanlock from the Manitoba Bisons. Brock, how you doing today, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for asking. I want to start with your journey to get to the Bisons in terms of positionally, because you were a D tackle at one point, now a defensive end. At one point, 320 pounds when you came in here, all the way down, I believe, to about 230 that you're weighing in at now. Describe maybe to the viewers what it took to sort of trim that weight down to a position where you're at now, and yeah, maybe sort of like the challenges or the struggles, or maybe just sort of what you put into that to get to what you're at now, which is a very lean 230.
Yeah, so kind of the first step that I went with was only drinking water and black coffee. Both of those are 0-calorie drinks, so that way you're not taking in unnecessary calories just by drinking them. Filling yourself up with food for sure is more important than taking calories in that you drink and then they just go right through your body. The next thing that I did was I went gluten-free. Gluten-free limits a lot of options. It saved me from like eating donuts, cookies, all that kind of stuff, muffins. And then after that, I started to kind of work into intermittent fasting, which is when you only eat meals from a certain amount of time in the day. So I would only eat meals from 1 until 9 p.m. at night. So that way your body goes into a stage where your growth hormone and your insulin levels are lower. So it increases your muscle gain and makes fat not stay on as much, basically. But yeah, those are kind of the steps that I went through. The biggest struggles that I had were sugar for sure is a hard thing to cut out. It's very addictive. It has addictive properties. So cutting out sugar was hard, but it was definitely worth it.
Brock Gowanlock was a defensive tackle at one point. Notable aspects of the career, including being with the Langley Rams, 14.5 sacks in one season. For a defensive line with the Rams, it still holds the BC Conference record for total sacks as a team. Now draft eligible this season, Brock, and been a big factor for this defensive line. Let's talk about your experience at the East-West Bowl down there in May, where you were dominant and frankly a half, really just a half of work down there. What was the week of practice like for you at the East-West Bowl? And what were some of the best aspects to that whole experience?
East-West is great. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting to kind of sit down and meet all the players. That was definitely a big surprise for me, as I kind of thought we were going to have more egos in the locker room, but it was very, very welcoming. Everyone in there respected each other. We all knew why we were there, and we all competed very hard with each other, and it was awesome. Some of the other great parts with East-West were professional coaching, being around you. We had a guy who used to play for the BC Lions was out there helping us out a lot. The coach for Toronto, Joe Paterna, he was great out there. And then in the game day was sweet. Like, it was cool to kind of be around a bunch of guys who are all on the same mission, who are all trying to get drafted this year, who could all made plays left, right, and center. It was awesome to kind of put yourself into that environment and compare where you're at. But yeah, it was a great experience.
As you lead into this year, obviously motivation is high because, again, it is your draft year. But do you have smaller goals for yourself this season, or what are some of those aspirations for you, both small and big picture, as you hit the field in 2019?
Yeah, the draft is something that's just going to come. I don't really want to focus on that and put the pressure onto your own shoulders like that. For me, it's each week, in and out. Let's get the W, play the best that you can, do everything that you can to help, and then hopefully we can, rather than get into the playoffs by a forfeit, we can be dominant and be a front runner in the playoffs and win as many games as we can.
As you reflect on your Bison's career now, you've been here for a little while, are there any key moments or memories that stand out? What sort of tips the scales when it comes to being a Bison?
Key moments that stand out. I would definitely say some of the games that we've won that we weren't expected to win, or games that we've been in that are, like when we upset Regina when they were the 6th team in the nation, that was awesome. We went into New Mosaic, first game that we ever played in there. We got to check out all these fancy equipment and stuff, and then we go in there and beat them. Like, that was a great experience for sure.
Amazing. And last one for you here, Brock. This defensive line is loaded. There's 3 CFL draft picks, obviously not including yourself, but a high-level draft pick this year. Tons of talent at the D-tackle position as well. Sky's the limit for that group. But what's your relationship with those guys like? Do you push yourselves on and off the field? And just what's the camaraderie like amongst that group?
Our D-line's great. Like, all the guys, all of us know that each of us are good at, like, we can all do our job. We're all in there trying to make plays, but realistically, we don't have any kind of differentiate. We don't compete. We compete with each other to be better as a unit, but we don't compete with each other within the group. I'd say all of us, we all know our capabilities, we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, and we're always trying to help each other out. We're always giving each other tips on how to be better and say, for example, how I could give my tools to someone else and then somebody else could give their tools to me. Yeah, we're a very, very gelled unit. We all obviously enjoy each other. We're all boys. We all hang out, go out for dinner together. Yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
And also, congratulations, you were named the captain for this coming season as well, Brock. All the best this season. Yeah. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, again, for your continued support of the Sideline Showdown. Next week, we have another super packed show for you. We're going to be heading down to Springfield to catch their inaugural game in the Winnipeg High School Football League. Super excited for that. Also have a new monthly feature coming your way called Catching Up with the Commissioner, where we sit down with WHSFL Commissioner Jeffrey Bannon. Really excited about that. And next week, Running with the Herd continues, talking to Nick Thomas, linebacker for the Bisons.
Yeah, and next week as well, we'll be going to the Oak Park versus Vincent Massey homecoming game. And if you guys were not at the Oak Park Grand Park game, it was so fun. We have a hype video that you can see on IGTV and on YouTube. And we want you guys to be there, and shout out to everybody who was at the last game. And at the same time, we'll be at some MMFA games. And make sure you comment in the below about what games you guys want us to go to. And we'll make sure that we put our best effort to get out there.
Thanks again, everyone, for your continued support and for providing suggestions for us of games to go to and to check out. And remember that you can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube at the Sideline Showdown.